Appointed by President Jefferson to lead his Mediterranean squadron, Commodore Edward Preble sailed toward Tripoli with a singular goal: to demonstrate to the world the power of the U.S. Navy. Tonight's real history continues now.
Preble arrived off of Tripoli, and he ordered 2 warships to remain there. And he was going to do what no other commander had ever done. He was going to maintain a blockade right through the winter. Wintertime in the Mediterranean was not a time you wanted to be out in a sailboat doing much of anything. And yet he intended to establish this blockade. And he decided to use the frigate Philadelphia, which was considered at that time to be the best sailing warship then afloat, who was commanded by Captain William Bainbridge. On Halloween Day, 1803, William Bainbridge chased this pirate boat that he saw. He didn't know the harbor. He didn't have a pilot. And just as they were about to get into gun range, there was a gut-wrenching shudder, followed by a scream, followed by a croaking sound. The Philadelphia had run aground. Bainbridge put her smack onto a reef. Finally, Bainbridge decided there was only one recourse, and he surrendered. And he handed the Prince of Tripoli 305 American hostages. Preble tried to figure out a way, how do I get Philadelphia back? 2 of his officers, Charles Stewart and Stephen Decatur, however, came to him on the same day with almost an identical plan. The idea was to take an American boat, disguise it as an Arab vessel, sneak into the harbor, board the Philadelphia, and destroy it. Preble loved the idea. He also had an ace in the hole, and that was a little boat called the Intrepid, the first USS Intrepid in the United States Navy, which was actually a captured Arab merchant boat. So the Intrepid set out from Sicily, and on the night of February 16th, the little Intrepid sailed into Tripoli harbor, and she made her way toward the Philadelphia. And just as the Intrepid was about to tie up, the guards suddenly realized something was wrong, and somebody yelled, "Americans." And that's when Decatur yelled, "Board." And his 75 men rushed onto the Philadelphia. They overwhelmed the guards that were on the Philadelphia, either killing them or driving them overboard. And in a space of 15 minutes, they had planted all the combustibles that they needed to set the Philadelphia on fire to make their escape. As they did so, certainly secrecy was lost. The alarm was sounded. The Tripolitan defenders knew there was an American boat next to the Philadelphia, and they all opened up on the little Intrepid. The fact that Decatur had sailed this boat in undetected, destroyed a great warship under the nose of 115 cannon. He didn't lose a man. The crew of the Philadelphia were thrown in prison, where they were made into slave labor for the Prince of Tripoli. And they remained in this prison until 1805, when, to the shock of Edward Preble, President Jefferson decided to agree to pay for peace with Tripoli. In 1805, Jefferson decided to back the brother of the man on the throne of Tripoli. He allowed an adventurer named William Eaton to raise an army to support the prince's brother, and to put the brother on the throne. And that kind of overshadowed what Preble did. And we have to think, in 1804, even though for 100 years the exploits of Preble and Decatur and Summers and Stewart were celebrated, cities were named after all of these men. Children were taught to emulate these men. Then World War I happened. Then the Great Depression happened. And then World War II came. And the epic nature of these 3 events really overshadowed everything, and the Barbary War simply became a footnote in American history.